For religious people, the fantastic phenomena described in the Bible seem like real miracles, manifestations of divine power. However, science also offers explanations for the parting of the sea, the virgin birth, the appearance of heavenly manna, and even the talking bush. Why did the Red Sea part? Scientists have discovered more than 500 human skeletons with military equipment at the bottom of the Red Sea. This may confirm the biblical story of the Exodus of the Jews. The sea really parted, but there is a scientific explanation for this. The mathematical model showed that at the supposed time of the miracle there was shallow water in this part of the sea. A strong wind dispersed the water, exposing a sand spit along which the Jews were able to pass. However, the Pharaoh's wars were less fortunate. The wind suddenly stopped, overwhelming the soldiers. With heavy weapons, they could not withstand the elements and drowned. How water was extracted from stone when Moses led the people of Israel through the desert. The people's water ran out and they suffered from thirst. Moses struck the stone and water came out of it. The explanation for this miracle is this. In the Mount Sinai area, there are many rocks made of limestone, which is a porous material that can absorb a lot of moisture. Having torn off the top hard layer from the rock, Moses released this water and was able to give the people something to drink. Where did the manna from heaven come from? According to biblical legend, the manna that people were fed with was given by heaven. The main explanation for this phenomenon is the Swedish thickened juice secreted by the tamarisk plant and processed by aphids, which live only in Sinai. Small drops of crystallized sap cover the branches of the plant early in the morning, but as the sun rises, the sap melts and loses its taste. This phenomenon was called manna because people, when they first saw a plant covered with small grains, asked each other, "Man who?" which means, "What is this?" Nowadays, local residents also eat such heavenly manna. Another version speaks of lichen manna. Arophytic lichens form edible thalli on their surfaces, similar to small grains. These thalli are carried long distances and can fall to the ground, allowing the lichen to multiply. How the Tower of Babel was built. For a long time, historians believed that the Tower of Babel was a myth. According to legend, the structure was huge, and it is unlikely that ancient people could have built such a thing. However, during excavations 90 kilometers from Baghdad, archaeologists discovered the ruins of a large-scale structure, the Etemenanki Ziggurat, which translated means house of the cornerstone of earth and sky. The structure, which already existed in the 7th century BC, had a diameter of more than 90 meters, a height of 91 meters, and consisted of 7 tiers. Etemenanki was dismantled and restored several times, and the ziggurat was dedicated to the supreme ancient god Marduk. Perhaps what is now called the Etemenanki Ziggurat was the legendary Tower of Babel. How did Sodom and Gomorrah perish? According to the book of Genesis, God was dissatisfied with the actions of the inhabitants of Sodom and Gomorrah, so he rained down brimstone and fire from heaven on them. Scientists have determined the approximate time of the death of these cities in order to find out what really happened. Archaeologists also found a cuneiform manuscript of an ancient astronomer, which described a huge meteorite heading towards the Earth. It was the meteorite that could destroy cities in a matter of minutes. Another version of the death of Sodom and Gomorrah is associated with an earthquake. In the 20th century, scientists observed earthquakes in the area of the Dead Sea where Sodom and Gomorrah once stood with gases escaping from the ground that ignited easily, creating dark smoke and the smell of sulfur. Perhaps such an earthquake, but a larger one, destroyed the cities. How did the Immaculate Conception happen? According to legend, the Virgin Mary conceived a child from the Holy Spirit. Scientists have long argued about this fact, but came to the conclusion that the possibility of an immaculate conception exists. This phenomenon is called parthenogenesis, when an embryo develops from a female reproductive cell without fertilization. Parthenogenesis is possible in small invertebrates, lizards, sharks, and even mammals, but such organisms die in the early stages. Even if parthenogenesis had allowed the Virgin Mary to give birth to a child, Jesus would have been a girl, since there would have been no place to get male chromosomes. Fall of Jericho scientists have also confirmed the legend of the fall of Jericho. Only the city was not destroyed by the sound of trumpets. When excavating the powerful foundation, it turned out that the outer walls were 2 meters thick, the inner ones more than 3, and the height of the fortress exceeded 9 meters. Archaeologists have determined that the destruction occurred around 1400 BC. The probable cause of the destruction was a powerful earthquake, which led to the fall of the walls. The outer walls fell outward, and the inner walls fell inward, which is impossible during an assault. The earthquake also caused a fire. The reserves of grain and other provisions in the city turned into coal. What is the burning bush legend has it that God appeared to Moses in the form of a bush that was burning but not being consumed? Perhaps it was Caucasian ash. Often called burning bush, the plant blooms beautifully but is very poisonous. In hot weather, its volatile essential oils can cause burns and allergies even if you are 2 meters from the plant. Another version suggests that the bush was engulfed in street. Elmo's fire, an atmospheric phenomenon that causes a glow at the sharp and high ends of objects, often accompanied by a crackling sound. This phenomenon most often occurs in mountains and deserts. How Moses talked to God. When Moses climbed the mountain to talk with God, Jerusalem scientists suggested that he may have first consumed the hallucinogenic plant ayahuasca. This plant grows in the desert and is still used by shamans to enter an altered state of consciousness and communicate with the gods.